listening to another DJ Hustle world premiere. World premiere.
Welcome to Hustle TV. I'm your host. I'm here with Mr. John Payne, president of Death Row Records. Man, thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Glad to be here, man. I appreciate you having me.
Man, it's a blessing. What's your background before we get into Death Row and all this stuff that's going on right now? That's new for 2012. What is your background?
My background is I've been in this industry for 30 years. I started out as a recording engineer, producing. I was at Solar Records. I was at Wally Hyder Recording, doing live recordings. Grew up in Detroit, so I've seen Motown. I've worked with practically everybody from Count Basie to you name it in one capacity or another.
Wow.
So that's me. 30 years in the business, seen it all, done most of it. Because if I did it all, I probably wouldn't be sitting here.
No, you in the right situation. With all that said and done, where do you feel the direction of Death Row is going to go now for the future?
Actually, the direction of Death Row, we've been actually defining that since we acquired it out of bankruptcy. Basically, the real direction is a complete refocus on it, so people can see it for what it truly should be, about the music and about the arts.
Okay.
There's no violence, there's no negativity. So you can hear it, the music, you can hear the artists, and you can have an honest opinion of them now.
Okay.
There's no distractions of court cases or anything negative or bad. So
Okay.
the direction is more, again, a reminder, a reinvigoration, or in showing people it fairly. So you can actually form a better, honest opinion, whether you like it or you don't, but you don't have to say, I don't like it because they were in a fight.
Right.
Now
right.
I can say, I don't like it maybe because of the context of the movie, or music, or I love it because they were good writers, they were good ensemble.
Right.
So now it's about what it always should have been about, the artists and the music.
That is so dope. So what kind of artists do you have on Death Row right now?
Death Row, actually, the label itself is all about the catalog and the music and the material that's in the vault.
Okay.
What we try to do is when we put out a record, we try to get the artist involved.
Right.
So the benefit of this is it's good promotion for them, so they can get a chance to maybe get out there again, but they're also not tied down.
Right, right.
And if things work out, it's good for them. It's mutually beneficial because they're promoting themselves. They're not necessarily promoting Death Row. They're promoting
Right.
themselves. They're getting a chance to get out there. A lot of these artists that we've been putting out lately, they've been part of the Chronic and the Snoop records and the Tupac records.
Right.
And once you hear some stuff we put out, you can hear their influence. Because if you take all these artists and all the things they do, it's what made these records the way they are.
Right.
Had it not been, say, a Sam Snead or a Christopher Taylor or a Jewel or even a Danny Boy or somebody like that, the records probably would have sounded different. I'm almost sure of that. It's like making a soup. All these different elements help. And it's also, too, comes down to the people that might have been hanging out in the room that day.
Right.
Because that's a vibe in itself. So we needed all of this. So what we're doing now is showing you some of these ingredients that made the records good. And then when you get their flavor, you can see why it helped. Why it helped Dre, why it helped Snoop, why it helped Pac.
Right, right. So with the artists that were on the records before, are they trying to come back to Death Row and have their own projects put out by you guys?
Some have, considered doing things like that. We will consider and listen to anything, but a lot of times, a lot of people are still kind of caught up in the past, and they think that they should come back on 1996 terms, and that's not possible.
Okay. If artists come back on those kind of terms, what are you going to tell them if they keep having the mindset of 1996?
I remind them, first of all, that was practically 20 years ago. Things have changed. Also, at that time, the records were selling millions and millions. Well,
Right.
It's not selling now. And also the other thing, and it's no offense to them, a lot of them never came out, so people don't really necessarily know them. They know of them.
Right.
And at this point, it would be to give them several $100,000 is a really big risk.
Right, right. Oh, wow. So as a new artist, how would they promote themselves with Death Row?
Okay, with Death Row, by us putting out the various records, there's an exposure. We give them full media coverage. You've also interviewed a few of our acts, so you know that they come out. So we give them full media coverage. We give them exposure.
Yes, sir.
We give them a chance to see what can happen. We give them a chance for people to remember what they did at the same time. While they're doing this, we haven't tied them down.
Right.
So they're in a position to maybe do something new. Or if things work out, the door is always open for some form of reasonable collaboration.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, so that door's never closed. But the reason why we did this, we did that with Sam Snead with his
Okay.
record. You know, we pulled some stuff out the vault, and then he put a bunch of new stuff on there, which I personally love the album. So a lot of times the Death Row fans want everything to be 1992. And
Gotcha.
you know what? And if he's, you know, see, Sam never stopped working. Sam's got talent, he's got ability, so he's able to give you the old stuff, but he's also able to touch on today.
That's good. Now, you told me about jazz. Are you doing gospel and everything
under
like that?
under the Wide Awake Entertainment Group. See, Wide Awake Entertainment Group is what purchased Death Row out of bankruptcy. So Wide Awake Death Row is one of the companies, but we got surrounding labels. We're got the gospel division put together. We have affiliated labels. We got KP out of Australia. That's Cocky Prick Records. We got Hoopla that's in the States. We got the D Sound Syndicate out of Detroit, which is a group of 4 labels. Wide Awake itself has just signed a group called The Broken Silence out of Australia. They're like hip-hop metal.
Okay.
And if you should check them out. If you go on YouTube, they have a song called Hope.
Okay.
And you can see that. So we're showing a little bit more versatility. But see, the stuff that we're mentioning, the artists I'm talking about, see, that's not the kind of stuff you can put on Death Row, but you can put around it. Because also, in our vault, we got rock, we got some gospel, we got some other things, too.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it's all still a nice feed, and everybody promotes and everybody helps each other. That's why we're reaching out in other countries, so everybody can help each other. And it's just like creating a syndicate. It keeps the cost down, and everybody can participate, and it's like the barter. And we're doing something here, our people in Australia can actually watch out for what's going on. And if there's some shows coming up, because our guy Big Dave in Australia is, you know, doing concert promotion as well, too.
Wow,
So things take off. It's part of the family. If it can work on one of his shows, then the family, that's an it. So we're doing things to make it so that, you know, everybody's not trying to spend a lot of money. Because people understand when you get in advance, that's a loan. And that's a very expensive loan, as well as that affects your rates until it's paid off. So a lot of people don't get that.
Okay.
If you can avoid that advance and get the most out of promotion and marketing, you know, get your production done, you know, the label, your cut is bigger, everything is better. At the end of the day, you don't have to sell 1 million units. If you sell 5,000, which sounds weird in this day, people are pleased with selling 5,000. If you can make a few $100,000 a year, you know, that's a good living.
It is, yes.
Without having a debt and something riding over your head.
Oh, yeah. Let me ask you this about artists. When you give artists that you guys want to sign or considering signing, is it a way that you can like train them on the media, train them on doing shows, train them on marketing themselves, or do you want them to have a package already together when they meet you?
You know what? For the sake of business, it would be better if they came in as a complete package. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, an artist is an artist, and they don't know business, they don't know a lot. If there's ways we can help, and you can't make somebody do something they're not going to do, because a lot of times they come in and they're looking at the videos and looking at TV, and they're going, I want my big car, I want this one. You know, it's like you have to earn that, and then these videos doesn't even belong to the people. So you would want the people to know as much as possible, but that's where, on their part, a good attorney comes in. So when you do sit down at the table and negotiate, everything that can protect them is in this agreement. You know, we're not out to rip anybody off, but at the same time, they need somebody looking at their best interest, and it comes together better that way.
Right.
So, you know, again, a lot of times they don't. They have no idea what the business is about. Looking at it on TV and listening to a record, and even just going into the studio, I mean, it's different. There's contracts. There's a whole lot of things that are involved, from publishing to you name it. All of this stuff is stuff that can actually get them in trouble.
Right.
And you know, if they're doing sampling stuff, that's somebody else's stuff, and they don't know that, and they put it out. You know, there's a lot of things that they would need to know. Some people know it, some people don't. Some people think they know it, and they know it incorrectly.
Right.
You know, which is worse than not knowing when there's a person you can't tell anything.
Yeah. And, you know, there are a lot of kids out there who think they know stuff and want to ask questions, but they're scared to.
Questions are never be afraid to ask a question, because how else will you know? I don't care if people, you're going to be embarrassed or people are going to make fun of you. At the end of the day, you will know. And then next week, because you know, they're going to be embarrassed because they're still making a mistake.
Right.
So, you know, trust yourself. You don't
ask
have
questions.
nothing to prove. Ask. Always ask. If you don't know and they answer, ask again. Say, explain it to me a different way.
Exactly. Let me ask you this. What is your ideal artist that you want to come to Death Row and in your subsidiaries and just market that person
The ideal artist is somebody that's not trying to be the next anybody, that's going to be themselves. Somebody that's original. You know, we've already had Tupac, we've already had Snoop. We don't need another Beyonce, you know. So you need somebody that's going to come out that's fresh, somebody that also has a sense to either understand the business or have somebody that's taking care of their business correctly. But the most, as an artist, you want somebody that's more versatile and that understands the whole music industry itself, understand music. And just because you're doing hip-hop doesn't mean that you should know anything about country western or something like that, because at the end of the day, music is creative. You might want to drop a little rap on a little country western thing with, you know, with a hip-hop beat.
Right.
You know, so versatility, creative. Don't chase anybody. Do your, create your own path.
That's awesome. I mean,
World premiere.